So we're talking about evangelism over the next couple of weeks. Last week we talked about hell. If you missed the message, I'd encourage you to go listen to that. It wasn't a message to, it wasn't intended to freak people out who don't know who Jesus is, but really what it was is for us as believers to light a fire within us that if we're not doing all that we can, we need to get busy, because there are loved ones, there are people we know that are going to go to hell unless we intervene and do our best. And so that's what that message was for. But today, we're going to continue in on that. And I heard a story. There was a guy from Japan. And this guy from Japan, he decided to go on vacation. He went on vacation and he went down to Mexico. So he went on vacation to Mexico. He found a church that Sunday, believe it or not. He attended church and he made a friend with someone in the church. When church was done, they're standing outside on the sidewalk and they're talking about church, talking about God, talking about Jesus. They start talking about heaven. Well, the guy from Japan, he says this. He goes, I can't wait to go to heaven. In fact, when I get to heaven, I can't wait to go into the throne room of God and for God to bow and to welcome and to tell us all, konnichiwa. Well, the guy from Mexico goes, whoa. You think God is Japanese? No. Let me tell you, heaven, it's colorful. There's a lot going on up there. You're going to see piñatas and it's going to smell some good food and there's going to be singing and dancing. In fact, I can't wait. When I get to heaven, I'm going to go in the throne room. God's going to stand up and he's going to say, hola. Well, the Japanese guy goes, whoa. And he pushes back and they start going back and forth and they get into an argument. How many know Christians argue at times? And they're arguing about who God is, and they don't even realize they step off the sidewalk and they're arguing in the middle of the street while a semi-truck comes around the corner, bam, and they're dead. They open their eyes and they're looking at each other laying on the golden streets of heaven, and without saying a word, they get up and they both start running as fast as they can to the throne room. They're running. They're trying to beat the other one because they want to see who was right. And they round the corner on the streets of gold and they see the throne room of God and they run and they get right into the door of the throne room. God stands up. He opens his arms and he goes, aloha. Yeah, I'm not saying God's Hawaiian. I don't know. But supposedly they say Hawaii's as close as it gets to heaven. So heaven's one of two places that we're going to enter into when we step into eternity. There's no third option. It's heaven or it's hell. You don't decide once you die. It's a decision that we make now. And I want to tell you, after talking about hell last week, heaven is the better choice. Heaven is the better choice. If you're trying to decide, I'm telling you right now, choose heaven. I want you to all think with me real quick. Think of one of the what's some of the most beautiful places that you've ever got to travel to. Think about that. I can tell you in my travels, one of my top three, I definitely say top three, maybe top two, is a place in New Zealand. It's called Queenstown, New Zealand. I don't know if you've ever been there, but Queenstown is just, to me, it's breathtaking. And I still remember the first time I went there. You fly from Auckland down south. It's on South Island, and it's about an hour flight. And I remember flying down, and as you're flying over, you get over the South Mountain, and that's where all those beautiful, the mountains from Lord of the Rings? You know which ones I'm talking about? The big and the snow, and you actually see it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like I'm looking for hobbits, right? I mean, it feels real, and you're flying down. But what happens is you begin to descend into Queenstown. Every time I've been there, there's always been clouds, and it's been a thick layer of clouds. And you descend. They say it's one of the most dangerous landings, Queenstown, for these pilots. And you're descending, and we're in the clouds. And I'm telling you, it's a long time. I'm sitting there. I'm feeling a little nervous. Looking out the window, all I see is clouds. I'm used to our clouds, and you kind of just come right through. Well, we're going, and it's a long time. I'm like, when are these clouds going to end? When are these clouds going to end? When are these clouds going to end? Oh my gosh, you're right. And I'm looking. And then all of a sudden, you break through the clouds. I still remember the first time you break through the clouds, and you are literally between the mountain ranges. The mountains, left and right. You look right, it's mountain. You look left, it's mountain. And you're between. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. If they went crooked, you'd die, right? But you're coming in, you're between the mountains. And then as you come to Queenstown, there's a hill in the middle, and the plane has to fly around. And so you fly around, and as you fly around, you're flying over Lake Wakatipu. Everybody say Wakatipu. Man, isn't that a cool name? Lake Wakatipu. And you fly around Lake Wakatipu and you come and you land in Queenstown. I remember the first time getting out. It's like Kona style. They don't have those bridges. You just walk right out on the runway, and I'm standing out there, and you're surrounded with the mountains covered with snow, and it was just beautiful. In fact, I have a picture. This is in their summer, but this is Queenstown. So you can see there's Lake Wakatipu, and there's Queenstown on the bottom. You sit right on the lake, and you can drink coffee and eat pastries, and they give you blankets, and there's great ice cream. And we were up on the hill. Oh, you guys went too fast. Go back. We were up on the hill as you look at that, and that was the hill where you actually go on a cable car, and then you can go down on this trail in like these go-kart things, but they're gravity, and you go super fast, and you can almost die if you fall off. It's fun when you go to places that don't have lawsuits. That's how they are. So, man, they got all this crazy kind of stuff. So that's Queenstown. This is Queenstown. But, obviously the golf course, but it was a day after. It was snow the day before all over the ground. The next day it had melted. You can still see the snow on the mountains. And I took this picture, and it was with one of the older iPhones. I don't know if it was an iPhone 5 or whatever, and it came out so nice. Isn't that amazing? iPhone 5. And so actually this is on the wall. I printed it on a metal print thing hanging in my bathroom. And if you want one, I get you one. $44.99. Let me know after church. We'll hook it up for you. And then what else I got here? Oh yeah, look at this next picture. Yeah, this is me right again, Queenstown again, Lake Wakatipu in front of me, and of course I'm golfing. I had to show you that picture. But this was an amazing day because I never golfed with snow all around me. And look at that pose. Don't ask me where the ball went, but the pose, right? That's all that matters. And remember golfing, and it was just beautiful. Queenstown, I love Queenstown. Now maybe you're looking at that and you go, oh, I don't like snow, I don't like cold. That's not nice to me. Whatever your nice is, whatever you like, imagine that, okay? And I want to tell you, whatever you imagine, whatever you remember, whatever you've seen, heaven will blow that away. Blow it away. See, I want to give you a couple thoughts. Number one is this: heaven is a beautiful place. As beautiful as we can think anything on earth is, it pales in comparison to heaven. 1 Corinthians 2:9 says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him. Heaven's going to be amazing. Get the most talented artists from Hollywood, computer graphic designers or special effects people. Tell them to create the most beautiful world to put in a movie. I'll tell you what, it won't even compare to what heaven is like. The beauty of heaven. There is no darkness. Where there's darkness in hell, there's no darkness. There's no shadow in heaven because the glory of God illuminates the entire place. And looking at those pictures right there, I'll tell you what, nobody in here was as excited as I am when I talk about Queenstown because you've never been there. The pictures don't do it justice. Just like you can show me your pictures. You ever had your friend go on vacation? Remember back in the day with photo albums? Look at my pictures and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. It ain't the same unless you go there. Whatever you think of, unless I go there, I'll never fully understand. As beautiful as heaven is, our words are still mere dirt when it comes to describing. The best words we have will never come close. But I know it's going to be something that we have to see to believe, something we need to experience to believe. And I can't wait for that day to come when we get to see the beauty of heaven, what God has created that no mind can even imagine. Here's another thing about heaven. Heaven is created for us. Heaven is created for us. John 14:2, Jesus said, there's more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? I like to think of it this way. We tell people that there's a table set in heaven for you. A table set in heaven. It's like that old song, right? There's the Audio Adrenaline, right? It's a big, big house with lots and lots of room. A big, big table with lots and lots of food. I mean, there is a house that God has prepared. It's made for us. It reminds me of that story. There was actually a taxi driver, and a pastor, and here they are in heaven. And St. Peter, how many know St. Peter's busy in heaven? St. Peter's doing, he's watching the door. He's giving people tours. So St. Peter, he has to show these two guys their homes in heaven. So he takes the taxi driver and the pastor, and they say, hey, we're going to go to look at heaven. They take the taxi driver to his house first. They pull up. It is a mansion. It is a manicured yard, swimming pool, water slide, 2 stories, basement built out underneath. It's like 8 bedrooms, home theater, home gym, everything that you could ever want in the home. And the taxi driver is just like, wow. But the pastor is like, wow. Because he's thinking, if the taxi driver gets a house like that, I was a pastor. Imagine what God is going to give me. And he's like, Peter, can we go to my house already? He said, hang on. Peter, I want to go see my house already. Hang on. So they get the taxi driver settled. Peter and the pastor jump in, and the pastor goes, I can't wait. I want to see my house. And so they're leaving. They actually leave the neighborhood. The pastor's thinking, I'm not even in the same zip code as this guy. Man, I can't wait. And they drive, and they get to the outskirts, and they actually are driving. And he starts thinking, man, it's looking a little weirder. It's not looking as nice as where we were. And they get to this place, and there's a road. And at the very end of the road, it's just a tiny little shack. Peter pulls up. He goes, here you go. Here's your home. The pastor looks at it for a second. He goes, wait a minute. He jumps out of the car. He goes, that's not fair. How come my house is like this? The taxi driver got the mansion, and all I got is this little house. Peter goes, well, don't forget, when you preached, people slept. But when he drove, they all prayed. Wake up right now, because I don't want a shack. All right, you better wake up. You got 2 heaven jokes, no more jokes, okay? But 2 heaven jokes I had to make up because there's no hell jokes. Hell jokes are a little naughty. So there are no hell jokes last week. So I gave you 2. Back on with the message here. Heaven is created for us. And there's a place for you. There's a place. Maybe you've lived your life always feeling, I don't know where I fit in. I don't know where my place is. Heaven ultimately is a place for you. And you know what's so cool about heaven? I love this. I love this. Jesus can't wait for you to come. A lot of times when people are going through tough times or they're sick, and I understand it, maybe they're old, we're praying, God heal them, God heal them. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I want you to know this, that Jesus is also praying a prayer. We're praying, Lord, let them stay a little longer on earth. But can I tell you what Jesus is praying? Look at this in John 17. Jesus' prayer to the Father, he goes, Father, I want these whom you have given me to be with me where I am. Then they can see all the glory you gave me because you loved me even before the world began. Jesus is praying. He can't wait for you to get to heaven. Anybody here got kids? You got some kids, all right? Some of you got kids. You ever had a sleepover for your kid where there was a sleepover, maybe it was a birthday party sleepover, and you sent out all the invitations, and you got all the and they're all ready, and the morning of the sleepover comes. So what do? You want the house to be clean. So you tell your kid, this is what you say, you better clean your room or nobody's coming over tonight. But you're lying, right? Because they're coming. You already sent the invitations out. You made the food. You're not going to cancel it, but we just throw it. You better clean it. So what does your child do? They clean it. It's nice. It's ready. And then what happens for the next 6 hours? Are they here yet? When are they coming? How come they're not here yet? They're looking out the window. Is that them? Who's that? Mom, can you call? Can you ask? And you're like, just hang on. And I think about that's how Jesus is. He's got it all ready. And he's saying, look, Father, I can't wait for them to come. I can't wait for them to see what's prepared here. Dad, when are you going to bring them home? When are you going to bring the church home? Say, Jesus, hang on. I'll let you know. Can I go get them now? Can I bring them back now? I can't wait. Jesus can't wait to see you. There's a place prepared for you in heaven. Here's the next thing. Heaven is open to everyone. Heaven's open to everyone. But getting there for everyone isn't going to be so easy. Some of the best places in the world, right, it's what we would say, they're off the beaten path. You ever heard that saying? Last year with COVID, when it hit, we were stuck at home. Everything shut down. But I remember once we could get out, we're out of here. And we went and we explored this island like we never have. I've been here since I've been in the second grade. And last year, we went to places that I've driven by, I've been in the area, but I have never, ever gone to my entire life until last year. I'm going to show you a couple of them. Places like this. Next one. Here is my nephew. We did this hike. Next one. This waterfall, we went swimming. Christina took us there. What do we got? I think the next picture is the same one, the waterfall with our dog. And then here, we went out to Kiholo Bay. This was beautiful. Went on that hike with the whole gang and, of course, Zane right there. But we went out there and we explored. And as I was thinking about this, what was funny is that none of those places, I didn't have to buy tickets. I didn't have to get permission. It was open to go. But we never went because we never ventured. We've been in the area, we've been close to that my life, but I've never taken the extra steps to get there. Jesus said in Matthew 7:13, you can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. The highway to hell is broad and its gate is wide for the many who choose that way. But the gateway to life is very narrow and the road is difficult and only a few will ever find it. Jesus tells us that really the majority of humanity will spend an eternity in hell. The devil has flipped this. The devil's got people in the world thinking the highway to heaven is wide. Mostly everyone's going to find that. In fact, it's really hard to go to hell, but it's easy to go to heaven. So just live your life. You're going to be okay. Jesus told us the exact opposite. And I think about how many other things we discovered last year just because we took a few extra steps. Heaven is open for us. Jesus went to the cross. He paid the price for you and for me. We don't go to heaven because we do good things. You can't do that. It's only because of Jesus. But once we accept His grace, how many know that now we have a life to live? There's some steps we can take. There's at times sacrifices we have to make. There's some relationships that we have to filter out. There's different ways that we handle our finances, and we think at times we got to sacrifice our pride and we need to ask for forgiveness. There's a life that we have to live. And I would be brokenhearted to think that people would get so close, but they wouldn't be able to go all the way because they stopped short of what God has for them. Heaven's for everyone. Here's the next one. In heaven, there will be no more sorrow. No more sorrow. There is sorrow all around us in this world. Turn on the news. Go online. Maybe you're here today. Maybe you've lost a child. Maybe you've lost a parent. You've lost a spouse. Maybe you've experienced an affair or the doctor's given you a grim diagnosis for your health. Sorrow is all around us. But the Bible tells us in Revelation 21, I heard a loud shout from the throne saying, look, God's home is now among His people. He will live with them and they will be His people. God Himself will be with them. He will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All these things are gone forever. Church family, the day's going to come when you shed your last tear. The day will come when you feel the last ache in your body. The last time that you ever get sick. That time will come when your heart will never be broken again. Heaven is going to be that place. Maybe you wondering, well, why? Why does it say, why is there going to be tears in heaven? Why would there be tears? They're in heaven. Why are there tears? I've heard people talk about this, and what a lot of people think is just when we go to heaven, we're still who we are. We still have our memories. We're still going to know. And it's going to be that moment when we go to heaven and you look around, and people are going to be looking around and they're going to start realizing, hey, Mom's not here. Dad's not here. Hey, where are the kids? Some people be looking around wondering, where are my friends? I mean, I hung out with them all the time. They're not here. And the realization that there are going to be people that we love that aren't going to be in heaven with us. And tears are going to be shed. But it's in that moment when God will do what he does best. He's going to come and he'll wipe the tears from every single one of our eyes. And we'll experience comfort and have no more sorrow. And I want to tell you this today. You don't have to wait to heaven to experience God's comfort in your life today. He can bring healing to where you are right now. And there's going to be comfort and there will be no more pain in heaven. Friends, I hope today, I don't want to shed tears over any one of you here today to look around and say, they're not here. They're not here. If you're not right with God, in a few moments, we're going to end real soon. Make it right with God today. I beg you, make it right. Make heaven your home. Philippians 3:20 says, we are citizens of heaven where the Lord Jesus Christ lives, and we are eagerly waiting for him to return as our Savior. He will take our weak mortal bodies and change them into glorious bodies like his own, using the same power with which he will bring everything under his control. Here's the last thing today. It's simply this: heaven, it's our forever home. Our forever home. 2 Corinthians 5 talks about that. We know that if the tent, in other words, the earthly home is destroyed, we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. Let me ask you this question. What makes your home home? What makes your home home? Is it because it has the yard that you always wanted? Maybe it has the pool that you wanted. Is it because it's 5 bedrooms and it's painted the pretty color? Maybe it's the home gym or the gourmet kitchen. And you look at that, you're like, yeah, that's a home. That's the home. But I propose to you today, a home isn't based on how it looks or what's under the roof. Really, what makes a home home is not what's under the roof, it's who's under the roof. And I could have the most beautiful home, but if only I could live in that home, it wouldn't be home if my family wasn't there. You see, home is where our family is. It's who is there that makes home home. And as we talked about heaven today, you've probably heard me say it a number of times. Heaven's so wonderful. Heaven's so great. And whatever you think about heaven, why it's beautiful and how you imagine it. But I would say, what makes heaven home? What makes heaven our wonderful, eternal home? Is it because there are streets like gold? Is that why it's great? Is heaven great because there are walls surrounding it like jasper with jewels that are adorned on the foundation, emeralds, and sapphires, and amethysts? Is heaven incredible because the 12 gates are 12 giant pearls that are the gates? Maybe you're thinking today, well, heaven's amazing because there are the angels, the magnificent angels that are flying around giving glory to God. I say, no, that's not why heaven is home. Maybe you're here and you're saying, well, it's the 24 elders around the throne casting their crown before the feet of Jesus. Maybe it's because there's brilliant rainbows that are described in there. Maybe it's the crashing thunder or the brilliant flashes of lightning. You say, that's why heaven is. I say, nah, I don't think so. Maybe you're here, you say, heaven's amazing because that's where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is. I want to tell you today, none of those things is what makes heaven home. Why heaven is my home is because that's where Jesus is. And wherever Jesus is, that's home. Wherever Jesus is, that's where I want to spend eternity. It doesn't matter how beautiful, the beauty of heaven, it's just a bonus. But what makes heaven amazing is that's where Jesus is. We're at a weird stage in our life right now because we have recently sold our house. We put our house on the market, we put it high, And we're like, no, if it ain't full offer, I mean, if it was 1,000 under, we weren't taking it. And we ended up getting a full price offer. Like, okay, great. What are we going to do now? And this is a weird stage because our daughter, Melody, she left in November. And Melody's been in Japan since November, and she comes back next month. When she comes back, it's going to be a very different world for us because the home that she grew up in for the past 13 years is going to be gone. We're packing up. We're moving before she gets back. She's never going to step foot in that house again. But when Melody comes back, it would be weird for her to say, no, whatever house we're living in, we're still looking for a house. So if anybody got a mansion for rent for cheap, let me know. Whatever house we end up renting, when she gets back, she's not gonna say, oh, I don't want to sleep there. I'm not gonna stay with you guys. I'm going back because that's home. She won't say that. Wherever we are is home. Wherever we are, she's gonna come back. She's gonna step into a new house, and you know what? That's gonna be home because that's where Shinobu and I and Jaren and Daisy the dog, that's where we are. And home, when I think about eternity, it's not about, I don't want to be in heaven. I want to be with Jesus. And if Jesus is in heaven, then that's where I'm going to be. But I want to be with Jesus. And I would say that heaven is more a person than it even is a place. What makes it wonderful? What makes it beautiful? And I want to tell you today, don't trade heaven for anything here on earth. Don't trade heaven. People want to go on trips. They want to go to Europe, or maybe you want to go to Disneyland, or you want to go to Australia. Maybe it's somewhere in Asia. What do people do? They begin to save. People save. They put money away. They'll eat out less. They won't do other things because they know, if I save this money, I'm going to be able to go on an amazing trip, and it's going to be worth it, the sacrifice that I make. I think it's so sad though when it comes to heaven, how many people feel entitled to heaven? How many people aren't willing to make the sacrifices? How many people aren't willing to take the steps to clear the other stuff out of their life so they can be sure they get to the destination that Jesus has prepared for them? I want to tell you, don't trade heaven for anything, because when the day comes and you get to go in front of Jesus and you see Jesus face to face, and you fall on your knees and you see the nail-pierced hands and the nail-pierced feet, the scars on his side, and when you look into his eyes, you're going to say, oh, everything I did to get here was worth it. It was worth it. It was worth it. Heaven is going to be worth it. And at times life might get hard. You might get a little discouraged here on earth. Don't give up. I promise you, friends, it's worth it. Don't try to live life for your own. Live a life that glorifies God. Close your eyes with me today.